Hi there! Today we're going to study the authoritarian monarchies and Catholic kings. So, to study the authoritarian monarchies, we're going to go to Europe, okay? When we're going to study in general what the authoritarian monarchies are and what did they do in Europe, okay, in the modern age. And then we're going to go to Spain. And in Spain, we're going to talk about these two people that you already know. They are Isabel from Castilla and Fernando from Aragon, and they are the Catholic kings, okay? But before we start with the Catholic kings, let's talk about the authoritarian monarchies, okay? So remember, authoritarian monarchies are monarchies that have absolute power. This means all the power in one person, okay? Now in the 15th century, we are in the modern age, remember, European kings made their authority stronger, okay? They became more powerful. They are stronger now. They have more power. And that's why they created authoritarian monarchies, because they are stronger, they have more power, they are more powerful. This means that all the power is in the king, okay? And how did they do this? They did it with several things. The first one, they created a centralized administration. Remember, to centralize the power, okay, is something that they do very typical in authoritarian monarchies where all the power is concentrated, okay, in a single authority. So they centralize the administration under their control. That's why the kings have all the power. And they rarely use the parliament. This means that they don't use the parliament a lot, okay? Because basically all the decisions are made by the king, okay? Another thing that they did is they created permanent royal armies. Okay, now let's go back a little bit in time. Remember when we talked about feudalism? Remember that in feudalism, the king had to depend on the feudal lord for protection because the armies of the kings were not very good. They were very weak. They were not very powerful. So the kings had to depend on the feudal lords and his knights to defend the kingdom. So this gave the feudal lord a lot of power. So now the kings are going to create royal armies, okay? They are going to create bigger armies so that they don't have to depend now anymore on the feudal lords. Now they have their own armies and they have more power, okay? Another thing, they are going to increase taxes, okay? This means more taxes. Obviously, they have to pay for the royal army, so they need more money, all right? And finally, they are going to create diplomatic services, all right? So this is a relation with other countries, remember. So they want to get on well. They want to have a good relationship with other countries. That's why diplomatic services are very important. Okay? Very good. So let's take a look at the map. Where do we have an authoritarian monarchy? Well, we have authoritarian monarchies in Spain, for example, where we have the Catholic kings, okay? Here you can see Navarra, which is still independent, but it won't be for long because Fernando will conquer Navarra in a very short while, okay? Then we have the Kingdom of France. It's also an authoritarian monarchy. Also the Kingdom of England is authoritarian. And here, under these lines, this red line, okay, inside this red line, this is the Holy Roman Empire, also an authoritarian monarchy, okay? And in Portugal, they also had an authoritarian monarchy. So there are a lot of authoritarian monarchies, a lot of kingdoms, as you can see, in Europe in this period, okay? Alright, let's talk about the Catholic kings now. Okay, remember, we have Isabel from Castilla and Fernando from Aragon. Okay, so in the 15th century, there was a dynastic union. This is a union of royal families, okay? A dynastic union was formed between the crown of Castilla. We have Castilla on one side, which is Isabel. She is the queen of Castilla, and the crown of Aragon, which is the crown of Fernando. Fernando was the king of Aragon. And with this marriage, okay, with this matrimonial union, okay, Isabel and Fernando become wife and husband. They are husband and wife. So they are a marriage now. This means that they are married, but also this means the union of Aragon and Castilla, okay? But they are united, but they still have their own laws and institutions. This means that we still have the Parliament of Castilla and the Parliament of Aragon, the laws of Castilla and the laws of Aragon, okay? But they are united. So now we have the Kingdom of Spain. Spain finally exists, okay? I've been saying Spain doesn't exist for the whole year, but now it does. Now, because of the union of the crown of Aragon and the crown of Castilla, we have now the Kingdom of Spain, okay? So the Catholic kings also imposed matrimonial alliances, okay? These are relationships with other countries through matrimony agreements, okay? From princesses to prince, they marry other royal families in Europe, okay? With other European states or kingdoms. So they create a relationship and they become more powerful, especially against France, because we don't like France. France and Spain in this period, they were a bit enemies, okay? They are enemies. Remember the word enemy, right? That's right, it's the opposite of friend or ally, okay? So this is not a friend. So we want to create relationships through marriages, okay, with other countries to especially go against France, because France is our enemy, okay? We don't want France, all right? Okay. The Catholic kings conquered other territories. For example, together, Isabel and Fernando, they both conquered Granada. Remember the year? That's right, 1492. They expelled the Muslims finally from the Iberian Peninsula. They also conquered together as a matrimony, Isabel and Fernando, they conquered Naples in Italy. Okay, and they also conquered the Canary Islands. That's why the Canary Islands are now part of Spain. Okay, and then Fernando on his own, okay, the Fernando the Catholic, Fernando the King of Aragon, he conquered also some territories in the north of Africa, and he conquered Navarra, okay, which was still independent, but not anymore because now Fernando has conquered this territory, and now Navarra belongs to Aragon, and Aragon belongs to the Kingdom of Spain. Okay, let me show you this in the map. Okay, so in the map, as you can see, we have the crown of Castilla. The queen was Isabel. The crown of Aragon. The king was Fernando. Now the crown of Castilla and the crown of Aragon are now united because they got married, remember? So this is now the Kingdom of Spain. Okay, this is the Kingdom of Spain. So, in the Kingdom of Spain, we also have Navarra, because remember that Fernando conquered Navarra later, okay, and some territories in the north of Africa, as you can see, okay? Also, the Catholic kings together, they conquered several territories. Remember, in 1492, they conquered Granada, okay, and they expelled the Muslims from the Iberian Peninsula forever. And now also we have the Canary Islands. They were conquered by the Catholic kings. That's why the Canary Islands belong to Spain today. And later, they also conquered this part of the Italian peninsula, Naples. Okay? So, all of these territories, the Canary Islands, these territories on the north of Africa, Granada, Castilla and Aragon, of course, Navarra also, and Naples, all of this belongs to the Kingdom of Spain. Okay? And also, don't forget, on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, we also have territories. Remember Christopher Columbus and his expedition to America in 1492? Well, after discovering America, we also have conquests of the Catholic kings in America, okay? Which are going to be very important. All right. The Catholic kings, they also did some measures. Do you know what measures are? That's right, medidas. To increase their authority, to become more powerful, to have an authoritarian monarchy. They did two things. One, making the royal authority stronger. This is the goal, to make the authority more powerful, and also the religious unity. So let's talk about these two things. Now, the first one, making the royal authority stronger. How did they do this? Well, to do this, they founded the Holy Brotherhood, remember? That's right. That group of people who controls the rural life, okay? La Santa Hermandad. They also created a permanent professional army, okay? A powerful army. They also created the chancillerías. Remember, this is a Spanish word because there's no translation, okay? And this is the institution of justice, remember, okay? The chancillerías are the part of the government in charge of the justice. And they also control the local governments, the royal councils, for example, okay? The city councils with the corregidores. All right, they are the person who controls the city councils, okay? And these corregidores are chosen by the Catholic kings. That's why they control the local governments, all right? And the other part was the religious unity. How did they get religious unity in Spain? Well, number one, they created the Inquisition, remember? To prosecute and persecute all the false converts. False converts are people who say they are Catholic, but they are not, okay? And this was very important because we have just expelled the Muslims and the Jews. Remember the Jews? That's right, from Judaism and the Muslims. So they are going to be expelled, okay, if they don't convert to Christianity. And that's why the Inquisition is going to persecute these groups, the Jews and the Muslims. Okay? Alright, so this is the end. Thank you very much.